Why, hello there, Knife's Tale here, bringing you a summary of a knife I've done a full review on. The full review will be linked down below, and I do hope this video finds you well. And if you would, consider liking and subscribing. I really hate to have to say it, but, I mean, yeah, you do have to say it, let's be honest. This is the CKF Peter Ascenti collab Persian Integral. As I said, I did do a full review on this, it will be linked. This is a very interesting knife that's doing a lot of different things, but at the same time, almost not. I'll explain. Real quick, but first, let's just take a quick look. You got 3 3/8 of cutting edge, almost 3 3/4 of blade length, 8 3/4 overall. Just quick, full specs will be in the full review, but we'll just touch on that. It's got pretty thick blade stock. It is hollow ground with this dual finish, sort of heavy stonewash satin blade. It is running on bearings. It is a flipper tab only. These are the stop pins and really don't work as to flick off of for thumb studs. It is very snappy, and as you can see, absolute guillotine. I mean, crazy good, smooth action. This is definitely really good, especially for an integral, where integrals can be very hit or miss, in my experience, where they can sometimes be a little bit too tight. This is not that. This is crazy. It's centered. There's no play. CKF definitely knows what they're doing there. There is a good plunge grind. Relatively thin behind the edge, despite the thick blade stock. Not the thinnest, but it's quite thin. It's got a really deep hollow grind. It goes from real thick to real deep pretty quickly. So it actually performs pretty darn well. And it does have this big sharpening choil, finger choil. But I have to be honest, the finger choil, unless you're willing to like ride up on this back block, which is actually still pretty comfortable, it does feel a little bit restrictive if you're just trying to push into the finger choil. It feels a little bit dangerous. But if you're willing to ride up on the block a little, on the flipper a little bit, it's not bad. Or just go for like a single knuckle. It's not bad. I feel like I could do fine here, but it's definitely clearly this is where you're supposed to be holding this thing. It is, as I said, integral, but a titanium frame lock with, I will say, this is one of the most spectacular parts of this knife. And it's the stonewash. It's like Blizzard, right? It's really contrasting, where you've got all of these hits from the stonewash that are kind of very reflective on top of this very gray matte finish. It's got a little bit of it going on in the blade too. It's quite nice. A lock bar insert with an over travels top. Also nice to see. Ascenti logo, CKF logo. The blade is sterile with the exception of M390 and number 19. It's also got a not deep carry clip, but a good clip. Decently flexible for a Timascus. Yeah, I think this is more Timascus, which makes sense. Zircotai can be a little bit stiffer, but decently flexible. Timascus clip. Not deep carry, but pretty good. Pretty good in the pocket. I mean, it doesn't sit too bad. Like, it's not that horrible. You can actually touch the tip just a bit here. Actually, more than just a bit. You can, if you really push in there, you could probably stab yourself on the tip. I haven't noticed it being a problem. It's not like I'm hitting it often, but yeah, it is there. That is something. This is based off of Ascenti's custom, so I don't know if that's the case for his custom too, but it is here. It's not too bad. It's mostly like right there when you're coming around. You can just feel it there. But I'm not cutting myself, so not too bad. There's a little bit of a... I've noticed this with Ascenti's designs. He likes kind of palm swells, I guess you'd call it, to some of his models. And it's interesting. I do think it's in a decent place for what it is. Maybe it increases traction, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But it's a nice touch, a nice little thing. A little bit of milling back there. Also, the Timascus pivot collar, it's not on both sides. That would be a little bit tricky with an integral, so I'm not faulting them for that. And let's be honest, the Timascus carries over to the clip, so who cares? Dog. Stop pin's in the open, and in the closed position, the stop pin only touches on one side. It does not press into the lock bar, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, this is a really well-made knife, and I really like it. But I do have to say, the Recenti knives out of the CKF line are some of the more underwhelming knives. They're just so plain, right? Yes, it's an Integro, I get that, but CKF knives are always going to be a bit more expensive. I guess, realistically, this one was what? Was it $550 or $650? I don't remember what these were. Hold on, I'm going to check. All right, so I checked, and believe it or not, yeah, these are still available. I don't think these were the most popular of the Recenti collab ones. They were sold out from, I believe, NC Blade, but there are still some at Knife Center and maybe a few other places. Maybe like Blade HQ. They're $580. Which, for what this is, considering CKF knives always come with a slightly higher cost, and being an integral, and integrals tend to start around $400 to $450. Yeah, actually, this is, and being a collab, this is actually pretty properly priced for a CKF. It's just slightly over what you'd expect it. So I'm actually not upset about that. It does feel a little bit plain. It's not as interesting a knife as some of the, like, Sukhoi or the Fief or the Davlis. Some of the things that CKF does is quite interesting. This is a little bit more straightforward, and that's fine too. There's a subsection who wants that too. I don't know. One thing it does do, however, in my opinion, better than the other Recenti collabs is most of them, in my experience, I have the Snafu and the one I can't remember the name of. It doesn't have a detent ramp like they do. So it's a lot easier to get on the face of the blade and just drop. Those you have to go down a bit lower, and it can be a little bit annoying to disengage the lock on those. This one, not a problem whatsoever. Lock bar access is so-so. Recenti doesn't really give, or CKF, Recenti, whatever, doesn't give a whole lot of lock bar access, like, cut back. But it's not typically hard to get to them, right? Overall, this is a really interesting knife. It's a really different knife. It's definitely something that you have to be down for all of its more subtle aspects. I mean, you're not getting crazy over the top, but you're getting just interesting finish. You're getting the integral. It's more subtle on what it's doing to make itself interesting, is what I'm trying to convey poorly, by the way. You know, it's not screaming, "Holy crap! Look at me! I'm doing all this crazy stuff." You have to look for more of the details here, which, once again, totally appeals to a certain subset, right? Some people just want a nice, good titanium frame lock, and this is pretty good. It's actually pretty great. Better be for the price, but it is. So, yeah. I'm gonna end things here. Snappy knife, centered, no play, whole deal. Basically what you'd expect from CKF. yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys later. There's not a whole lot to say here. It's surprisingly straightforward, yet weirdly, it's just kind of a weird combination of intricacies and details that are at the same time straightforward. I don't know. I have no idea. So I'm going to call it. Stop blathering on and say see you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And I'm out of here.